This is why I saw this video and it reminded me of something that we've talked about where I've said, I don't believe you should ever have all your money in one place, even if you think that place is safe. Because things that are safe can suddenly become unsafe and things can change. They call that a regime shift in finance, where something that was super safe before suddenly isn't safe anymore, and no one knows until they lose everything. That's how a lot of wealthy British families lost wealth that had been in their family for hundreds of years is because of Lloyd's of London. Lloyd's of London is known as being this super safe company. Like there was a lot of prestige in being associated with them, but something changed. They started doing their policies different. So a lot of wealthy families that had been backing their policies, with basically backing them financially with sort of like no limitation on the liability, they lost everything, right? And we've talked about that before, but we could talk about it again. But I want you to watch this video. Check this out.
Did you know Wall Street banks deliberately destroyed a $330 billion market overnight just because they felt like it? In 2008, millions of Americans thought they had safe, liquid investments in something called auction rate securities. Banks marketed these as cash-like alternatives to savings accounts with better returns. Every week, banks would hold auctions to keep these investments liquid and accessible. But here's the shocking part. Banks were secretly rigging these auctions by bidding on their own securities to create fake demand. Then, in February 2008, major institutions like UBS and Citigroup simply stopped showing up to their own auctions. Instantly, the entire market froze. Students couldn't access education loans, nonprofits couldn't pay expenses, and retirees lost access to their supposedly liquid savings. 1.7 million investors found $330 billion of their money trapped for years. No warning, no gradual decline, just complete market destruction in a single day. This proves Wall Street can instantly kill entire financial markets whenever it benefits them. Did you know
Okay, did everybody get that message there? Anybody ever heard of Enron? Anybody heard of Enron? Remember Enron? Everybody thought they were safe and they weren't. Um, this happens all the time. It happens all the time. And this is the darker side of Wall Street. The crazy thing about Wall Street and investing is I believe everyone should be invested because that's where the money is. But if you go behind the wall and you look at some of the characters that run Wall Street, um, just take Donald Trump times 1,000. It's a bunch of bunch of wild cowboys, very arrogant, disconnected from the average American worker, who see the markets kind of like a playground. A lot of them are on drugs. They'll sit there with the snorting the coke while they're doing stock trading. So they're kind of these wild people that sort of know that because they have wealth and power, they don't really have a lot of accountability and responsibility. The government's not going to really do much. Bernie Madoff, many people reported Bernie Madoff before he was actually arrested. If people had been paying attention, they would have stopped him 10 years before the whole thing went crumbling down. So the reason I mention this to you is because you have to take everything with a grain of salt. And one thing that I believe it represents healthy skepticism, right? You should have some healthy paranoia to say that you can only trust people so much. It doesn't mean you can't trust anybody. See, some people say, I don't trust none of it. I'm not putting none of my money in the market. Don't, no, 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 that's not it. By diversifying, what you're doing is you're saying, yeah, this looks really good, but you're not getting all my money. I do not want to have one, and pay attention, write this down. I never want to have one thing that can destroy everything for me. I will never have one market, one person, one situation that can ruin everything. You got to have a plan B on top of your plan B on top of your plan B on top of your plan. You got to use every letter of the alphabet to have a backup plan.